Hello. How are you guys? So I'm going to wait for some of you all to get in here. Hopefully it's working. Hello all. Okay, perfect. It's working. Hi, pretty brownie. How are you? Today, literally, I looked up at the clock and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be live right now. So I am a little late, but everything happens in divine timing. So rest assured that we're okay. Brandy says, thank you for deleting those. I was starting to get in my feelings about that. Definitely need to chat now. Yeah. And this is actually why what? Shamir, oh my gosh. So Shamir just said that she registered for the natural hair retreat and she's excited. I'm excited too. So if you guys didn't know, I'm gonna be at a natural hair retreat in October and we're gonna be talking healing and natural hair for a whole weekend. And so Shamir's gonna be there. Shamir's actually one of my coaching clients. I'm gonna show you guys some transformations of her hair on Instagram. So what? Wow. Myrna says she signed up too. I'm excited. This is going to be really fun. But okay, so I wanted to go back to Brandy's comment because she said that she had saw basically before we even started this live, a few people had mentioned how crystals are, demonic and not of God and that you shouldn't use them. And that's truly why I actually haven't made a video on it because you guys have been asking me to make a video about crystals for almost a year now, I want to say. And I just truly wanted to kind of be very comfortable before I put myself out there like that on the internet because not everybody truly understands what they are. And I mean, if you don't believe in it, that's completely fine. But I also feel like putting your projection of what you think they are onto someone else's personal experience, it's not conducive to healing. And so as I was going through my own journey with crystals, I didn't want to be bombarded with anybody else's opinion except for my own. So now that I have my own opinion, I feel completely secure and actually called to tell you guys about it. So before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that our Natural Hair Sisterhood Circle is going to be ending. It's not going to end forever, but 30 days back to back is actually going to be ending on Wednesday. So in honor of that, I'm having a sale. And this sale is really for people who maybe you missed the masterclass and you want to invest in yourself and learn the knowledge that you can move forward in your hair journey. So you can grab any masterclass right now for 20% off with the code SELFLOVE. And I have a link in my description box where it'll show you all the different types of classes that I offer. And I really encourage you to choose the one that you feel resonates with you. Choose the one that really speaks to where you are right now in your journey so that you can implement the information and then truly get the results you're looking for. So yeah. Hope says you can find God anywhere. He's invited to every party if you want him there. That's true. We are, in my opinion, I don't even like to call it a spiritual practice because it's really like my own personal experience, truly. I feel like there are so many different iterations of the same thing. It's just, it looks different across cultures and across times of religion in the 1600s looks different from religion now, but a lot of religion is all kind of around the same thing, from Buddhists to Taoists to Christians to Catholics. So yeah. But okay. So crystals, what are they? One of you guys actually asked me about this, and so we're gonna get into that today. I have a few of my favorites here. So I have rose quartz. This is actually a crystal I just got this past weekend. I felt very called to it. It's my theme, which is why we're having a self-love sale. Rose quartz is really good for helping to inspire self-love, I would say, helping you really be present and remembering how important unconditional love of self is, helping you fill your love cup up so that you can pour out onto others. To me, it's a very soft, receiving stone, which kind of reminds me to be soft and receiving. And I think that that's a perfect segue into what is a crystal. So a crystal is a property of the earth. It's a rock, essentially. A crystal is a rock that's formed naturally, like in a cave. Some of them are formed underground. It's just a naturally formed specimen that some cultures and some people believe different crystals have different energies. And if you think about energy, energy is everything. Like energy is essentially like molecules moving back and forth. And that's what makes up matter. So everything has energy. A tree has energy. I have energy as a human being. And so there are people who believe that certain crystals have certain energies and help you to tap into certain energies that you want to experience in your life. Maybe if you're kind of going through, if you're healing from something traumatic, you can use rose quartz to help you remember like you're worthy of love. You deserve to be loved. You can heal like any blockages that you have with love. They're really just tools to remember, truly. And that's what a lot of things are within spirituality, I feel. So my spiritual belief is that we are all manifestations of God. We're all physical manifestations of God. And whenever you experience something like negative, such as like hurt, I wouldn't say that. Let me think. Whenever you experience things that cause you discomfort around, like I would say anxiety, frustration, stress, things that make you feel disconnected, basically, is when you're forgetting that you already have a connection inside of you. Like when you feel anxious and then you go looking outside of yourself for something to calm that anxiety down. And then when you can't find it, you get more anxious. For me, in my belief, it's because you're not remembering that you are the source. Like you're the source of your calm, remembering that you're connected to God. Remember that everything has like a plan. Everything's working out for your good, not against you. It's really just a lesson for you to learn so that you can get the knowledge that you need to move forward to the next level. That's kind of how I see things. And so I use crystals to help me get that lesson by helping me remember who I am, truly. So I've been using this rose quartz for the past like 3 days to help me remember that it's okay to like slow down. As a woman, as women, we really have like power in receiving. There are many ways to manifest. You can manifest by like going after something and using like your dominant masculine energy, which we all have. Everyone has masculine and feminine energy, not just whether you're a man or a woman. But you can also manifest by being open to simply receiving, by positioning yourself and readying yourself for the blessing that you're asking for, and then just getting ready to receive it. You can also manifest that way. So that's what I've been using this rose quartz for. But what we're also going to be talking about is like, how do you use crystals? And it's really like a personal choice, as everything is. With everything that you do, it's following your own intuition. When I was first learning about crystals, I watched a lot of YouTube videos about it because I don't really know people who were into crystals. Let me think, because I might be, nobody in my life talks about them. So I would like look up online and I would kind of like do my research around it. Like there's a book of stones that you can purchase to learn like what stones do what. But really the best way that I find working with crystals is to just listen to your intuition. So like if you're feeling maybe called to a crystal, you want to like first make sure that you're feeling called to it, because you don't have to use crystals. Like this is a tool like anything else is a tool. It's not necessary for you to be present. You don't need crystals to do that. That's just your awareness. But crystals can just be physical reminders about, what you're practicing. So for me, I listen to my intuition. So this past weekend, I was actually called, like, it's time to get a new crystal. I haven't gotten a new crystal in many, many months. And I don't ever have a plan when I go to my metaphysical shop or my crystal shop. I really just kind of like set the intention that whatever I'm supposed to bring with me onto this next journey or whatever I need in this moment is going to reveal itself to me. And then I'll pick it up. Sometimes I'll look to see like what it helps with while I'm in the store. Sometimes I'll just purchase it and go home. For example, this green aventurine, I never know how to say that. I don't know. This stone is really, really good for like healing the heart chakra. It's really good for calming imbalanced like emotions. And it's like, it has helped me Truly, this is when I really started to like understand the energy of crystals. I remember when I first got this stone, I actually had a ring. And one day I was really upset about something. I'm not really sure what it was, but I was just really, really upset about it. And I put the ring on and I went and just kind of laid down. I was like, I'm just going to meditate. I'm going to calm down. And within 5 minutes, I was so calm, like more so than I would have been with meditating. And that's how I see crystals as being helpful in your spiritual journey and being a spiritual tool. It can magnify the energy that you need or that you're wanting to experience. So like literally it calmed me down and I was like, oh, okay, this is real. This isn't just something that people say. And that's why I feel it's important to have your own felt experience, not just take someone's word for it, because I didn't truly really understand crystals until I had that experience. And now that I've kind of been using crystals for about a year now, I also understand that when you get more in tune with your own energy and when you can feel like imbalances in your own energy, you can then be open and more receptive to feeling energy in other things. So now I'm way more in tune with the energy of crystals because I'm way more in tune with myself. So like for instance, this is a crystal where I went into the shop and I have been feeling called. Actually, no, so I got this about a month ago when I first started 30 Days of Lives, I think. And it helped me. This is a crystal, it's Amazonite. And it's really good for communicating from your emotion, communicating from your heart. It opens up your throat chakra. Blue is usually connected to the throat chakra. And it helps you to establish boundaries that are going to be helpful for yourself and helpful for the people that you're trying to heal. It's like a healer's stone. And I view myself as a healer. I try to help women who are experiencing like emotional and I don't know, like emotional and maybe even spiritual distress. That's not the right word for it, but your hair is not just hair. There's an emotional connection to it. There's a spiritual connection to it. So with the work I do, I am usually helping women through their emotions around their hair as well as their knowledge with their hair. And so I actually got this at the very start of 30 Days of Lives. And it's been very supportive in me just feeling like safe to speak my truth, to speak from my heart, to really speak to the people who are here for me, because I understand that I am here for a certain set of people, and everybody else, even if they throw their opinions into the mix, like it doesn't matter to me because I'm not here to serve them. So yeah, I'm gonna look into the comments and see what we have going here. So Sincerely Coco says, I'm pretty new to crystals. I have a few that were gifted to me. I feel like that's the most amazing thing. When you get a crystal gifted to you, it's just so beautiful, I feel, because like that person is, at least in my family, like I said, not many people are into crystals. So when I am gifted a crystal, I know that they really care about what I care about. Like even if they don't understand it, they're still like investing in my healing in a sense. And I think it's just a beautiful thing. Brianna Ray says, does your crystal shop sell online? And how do you know if a place is legit and not heat processed? That's a really good question. So my crystal shop, they do sell online. The crystal shop that I go to in Jacksonville is called Midnight Sun Imports. And there are some crystal shops that sell online. The thing is, though, when you pick a crystal, it's a very intuitive process. Like it's a feeling. So whenever I'm getting a crystal, especially a raw crystal, I need to know how it's going to feel in my hand because I want it to be comfortable because I'm going to be using this a lot. So this like fits into my hand perfectly. To me, it actually reminds me of like a yoni, which is kind of like in tune with that receptive, divine, feminine energy. And so this specific one out of like a container of rose quartz spoke to me. And if you buy online, you don't get to choose the one that speaks directly to you. The seller is going to choose the one that speaks to them, which may not be a bad thing. Like if you can't get access to a crystal place in person, then that's kind of what you have to do. But I feel it's best to do it in person. And the way that you know a place is legit is when you go into a crystal shop for the first time, you really want to like be very tuned into the energy of the shop. So like for me, I'm a researching bunny. So I'll research the owner. I'll kind of get a feel of like their social media, like how are they speaking to their customers online? How are they speaking in their posts? Does it resonate with me? Really? Like there's really no guideline to follow other than your intuition. How does the energy feel in the shop? Like when you're getting help, are they being helpful? Are they being nasty? Like, do you resonate with what they're talking about? That's really like how you can tap into it. Like there's this crystal shop in Atlanta. at East Ponce City Market, I think is what it's called. And I went there briefly when I was in Atlanta, and it was like an okay crystal shop. It wasn't bad, but it definitely had like this commercial vibe to it. Like it wasn't necessarily like it had like this capitalist commercial vibe to it. So I don't like to go there. I went there once and I was like, I don't like it. So you can kind of feel the vibe when you go to a place. And then how do you know it's not heat processed? I know there are certain tests you can do. Like I've seen how if you put certain stones in water, they should float. And if they sink, then they're fake. But again, I just usually tune into my intuition. I trust the place that I go to enough to know that they have real rocks, basically. And then I can feel the energy of them too. Okay. So if you're new to crystals, I'm going to share a few. So some of my favorites are spirit quartz. This is actually one of the few crystals that I bought online, but I was able to see the exact shape and I was able to kind of connect exactly to this specific one. And then that's the one that they sent me. Spirit quartz is like a mix of amethyst and citrine, I believe. And again, I'm not like a super expert. I'm a year into this. But this is for me like it holds the energy of me just being open to spirit being present. So like I'll keep it with me when I'm working. Usually that's when I'll keep it with me the majority of the time. So I'm making sure that I'm kind of channeling from spirit and speaking to you guys, not just from my experience, but from what spirit wants you guys to hear. So I have that one. One of my favorites is blue calcite. So this one is really good for calmness. If you have anxious, like overthinking, like constantly running around thoughts, if you're a worrier or a doubter. Another thing that I love is numerology because I feel that my spirit guides and the universe speaks to me heavily through numbers. And I've honestly always felt that way. That's another thing too. I've been attracted to crystals all my life. I just didn't know it. When I was a kid, I would collect rocks. Like if you guys remember Fern Bank, I don't even know if that's still a thing, but my mom would like buy me the rocks from Fern Bank. I had tiger's eye when I was a kid and I didn't even know what that is. That's another crystal for like focus and determination. And it's also a crystal that's connected to my sun sign, which is a Taurus. I've always been into like the synchronicity of numbers. Like if I would see an even number or if I would see my birthday, like I would feel like a little flutter inside, even as a kid. So a lot of these things that you're feeling called to is for a reason. And sometimes it took me a while to remember that I actually used to collect crystals when I was a kid. I remember we went to like a restaurant when I was like maybe 8 or 9, and there was like a really pretty rock in the gravel of the like parking lot. And I made my mom stop at like 9:30 at night and shine the car light on the ground so I could go pick it up. So yeah. But yeah, what I was saying is I was just actually sharing. And then I guess another like pretty essential crystal is amethyst, which is really good for opening up your third eye, which is essentially you opening up yourself to things that are not seen, things that are more like of the spirit world, not the physical world. And it's also something that I'll use like if I'm meditating outside, I'll use it to ground myself in what's real. So I feel when I was speaking about, I think the last live, how there are a lot of distractions. Those distractions can manifest as doubt and fear that you create for yourself. It can manifest as people outside of you trying to tell you what you should be doing. It can manifest as like people in the government or whatever structures you want to say, trying to tell you again how you should be living. And so amethyst helps me to get grounded in what the truth is and not what other people are telling me, but like what God has for me. So I just actually had like a sun meditation with this weekend because I needed to get grounded. So do you have any podcasts or books that you would suggest for beginners? I think that the Book of Stones, somebody said The Crystal Bible by Judy Hall. I probably read that one too. I think it's called The Book of Stones. That's my favorite because it's 2 authors. So like one author will give their like scientific view of what the stone is, and then another author will give like more of a spiritual view of what the stone is. And I like the 2 of those together. And then it'll also give you like affirmations associated with the stone, like what chakra it's associated with. So the Book of Stones, I believe is the name, is my favorite. And I don't actually have it. I just look at it when I'm at my crystal shop. But if you I would suggest that. And then as far as a podcast on crystals, I don't know of any podcasts on crystals, but A Little Juju podcast is a wonderful, wonderful podcast for anybody just starting out in spirituality and not really Well, this is more about African traditional spirituality. So that's really great if you're more so focused on like ancestral practices and like getting back to what our ancestors did, like understanding what they did and why, and then kind of weaving that into your daily life if you feel called. So yeah. So we're 20 minutes into this. If you guys have questions, that would be helpful so I kind of know what direction that we're going to go in. But I do want to say, since this is a crystals 101 video, I want to share like, what do you do when you first get a crystal? So we discussed like before you go, you want to kind of set the intention, really cleanse yourself of expectations and what you think you need. I've definitely done that. Like, I'm going to go in and get Larimar, and then I literally don't get it. And then sometimes you even feel like upset that you don't get what you want. But just go in, allow spirit to speak to you, choose the one that you feel is calling out to you, and then you get home, what do you do? So a crystal is an item that can hold energy. Anything can hold energy. This house, this room can hold energy. Actually, this is my filming room, and I really like to keep the energy clear in here because I do my work for you all in here. So with a crystal, this has taken thousands of years to form in the mine, or excuse me, in the cave or wherever it was formed. It's taken, usually they're coming from places outside of America. So it's passed through so many people's hands. So many people's energy has been on it and their intentions have been on it. Sometimes people have actually owned crystals before you. So you can program a crystal to help you with a specific thing. So like with this crystal, I've programmed it to help me with remembering that I can slow down. I do not have to move a mile a minute. I can go slow and I can go intentionally. And that is more sustainable and successful than just going balls to the wall all the time. So that's the programming that I put on this crystal. So what you want to do is when you first get a new crystal is actually cleanse it of all the negative energy that it could have come into contact with, because you don't want that in your space and, you know, in your aura. Cleanse it of any prior programming. Thank it truly, because you and this crystal are really working together to kind of help you work through whatever blockage that you're experiencing. And it's a blessing for you to have followed your intuition to something that can help you, to a tool that can help you. And this can be just like a person. A person is a tool, a book is a tool. Anything that's helping you level up, like you should express gratitude around that. So that's usually what I'll do. And so with certain crystals, like if their hardness is 7 or over, I'll do like a YouTube video about this. But if they're very, very hard, like rose quartz, you can actually get them wet. So you can rinse them in like lukewarm water. And like as you're doing that, you're setting the intention that you're clearing the energy, any negative energy, you're clearing the crystal of all prior programming, you're expressing gratitude for the journey that the crystal has taken to come into your life. And then you can also take that time to use your own energy. Some people say like you should imagine like a white light in your hands as you're holding the crystal, which actually works. That resonates with me now. When I first started, it didn't, because I really wasn't in tune with my energy like that. So I wouldn't really imagine the light. I would just kind of hold it and just kind of like say a prayer over it. But then you want to use your own energy to then program the crystal to what you would like for it to help you with. Yeah, and so that's basically what you do when you first get a crystal. You just never want to use it right away, like just without cleansing it first. And then if you have crystals like calcite, that these are like more softer crystals, so they can't get wet, I would recommend saging them with something else that you can use. That's not water to cleanse. Sage, Palo Santo, any type of like smudging type of thing. And honestly, intention is everything. So even if you don't have any of these items, you could just put it in your hand and use your energy to dispel the negative energy off of it. You don't even need any other tool outside of yourself. So yeah. Pretty Brownie says, what do you mean by program? Program is just a fancy word for saying setting your intention with the crystal. So like my intention with, let me see. Let's do this one. My intention with the green aventurine is to help me heal, to allow myself to let go of these defenses that I've created when I was in survival mode that literally do not serve me. It's gotten to a point now where like I'll be in a defense like situation, like I'll be being defensive, and I can like really see myself like, Kenya, girl, like you are doing the most. This is not even what it is. So I'm looking right now to kind of stop myself before I even allow myself to get to that place. Like recognize when it's coming up and then kind of like feel safe and, know that I'm healing from that and I don't have to continue to act the same way. So that's my intention for this crystal. So when I was clearing it of negative energy, I set that intention onto the crystal. So the crystal knows how to help me. Again, energy. Everything is an energy exchange. So now that I've set that intention, that's what's going to happen because I say that it's so. And with that, like crystals are elements of the earth. So if you guys go outside and like you spend just 5-10 minutes outside, like you can feel just how uplifting earth is. And something I really wanted to talk about is around like, should you use crystals? If you feel called to it, you should. I feel that it's important to really recognize that a lot of the religions that we were raised in America are not our religions. They're religions that our ancestors had to modify to make work for them. But if we're coming, a lot of the religions that our ancestors practiced were religions that they created. It was like religions that they experienced, maybe that they probably also channeled from God, and then they created for their cultures. And it can be very, very powerful working with your energy and like manifesting what you feel is right for you. Literally, I'll have conversations, and 2 days later, I'll be experiencing what I had a conversation about. So I can understand that when like colonizers came over to Africa and they saw what was going on and they didn't understand it, but they could truly understand that it was powerful, why they would essentially demonize it and say it's wrong and really try to impart their own religion onto another group of people who were doing fine without them. Like the way that you control people is through religion. If you can change their beliefs, you can control what they're doing. So I respect people who practice different religions, even if I don't necessarily believe in them. But you shouldn't make a choice on whether or not you're going to heal within yourself around what other people are telling you. Because if you're being called to it, then it's for you. And just because somebody has a view on it or has an opinion about it doesn't mean that it's necessarily right if it feels right for you. So I don't even know where I was going with that. But what I wanted to say was, right, the energy of the earth. Mother Earth is so, she heals herself. She regenerates herself. And she also creates tools for the inhabitants of Earth to heal themselves as well. Like we all have the power within us to heal ourselves from whatever we're going to. You don't need a pastor or a preacher to heal you. They can be tools as well. They can be helpful, but you don't necessarily need them to carry out your work in life. God has given you everything that you need to do that, including crystals. Crystals are tools, just like anything else. So like for me specifically, if I go outside and I like really stand on the ground without any shoes on, like I feel connected to the earth. I feel the earth's energy, and it really allows me to ground myself and feel clear enough to continue on with my life's purpose. Trees. If you've ever like sat near a tree or been around a body of water, actually, it has energy. Usually your mood is lifted when you're around that. You may get like downloads, like maybe you think of something that you've literally never thought of before, or maybe you think of a solution to a problem you've been struggling with just instantly. You already have a solution. If you're an entrepreneur, when you're outside, a lot of the times you'll get ideas for products that you need to create for people. And that's because like spirit is speaking to you. But it's not just spirit is always speaking to you. You're open enough to receive it because you're calmer and you're soothed and you're around these very strong, energetic fields that are allowing you to do that. And so if a tree has energy, if water has energy, if the earth has energy, what the earth creates has energy. And that's how I feel about crystals. I completely resonate with crystals at this point. And I wanted to make sure that I had a true felt experience with it before I brought you guys a video, because I don't want to just come and recite what a book is telling you a crystal is going to do for you. I want you guys to know my own experience with it. But yeah, like the earth, especially with me getting into plants now, it's like unbelievable how sustainable the earth is. A fern, which is a type of plant, in order for a fern to create more ferns, the mother fern essentially has to grow spores on the back of the leaf. And once it grows the spores, literally 100,000 ferns can come from that one leaf because just so many spores are on the back of the leaf. So and that's the way that Mother Earth heals herself and regenerates and makes sure that things consistently continue on. Like if we were to ever not have plants on Earth, it would be our own doing, because Mother Earth has already like put forth the natural flow of things, that you'll never run out of plants just because of the way that they propagate, which means how they create more plants. So, yep. Can you repeat the name of the podcast? It's called A Little Juju Podcast. Thank you, sincerely, Coca. Yes. So yeah, and again, this video is not telling you that you need to use crystals. I'm not trying to prove anything to you. I'm only sharing my experience in case you're feeling called to it. Another thing about crystals is that you can actually use the energy of the earth to help charge your crystals and cleanse your crystals. So tonight's actually a full moon. Tonight's a full moon. And with the full moon, you can charge your crystals up with whatever intention that you have for them. And usually you want to put your crystals out to like be under the full moon for at least 1 to 2 to 3 days, because the full moon's energy is highest within like the first 3 days. And then you can also cleanse your crystals. So say you don't want to cleanse with water or with sage, you can cleanse your crystals under the new moon. Where do you keep and store your crystals? I keep them everywhere. So I keep them in my office. I keep them around my house. If I do want to store crystals I'm not using, I just have like a little wooden box that I put them in, but you can really like put them wherever you feel comfortable. There really aren't any rules. There are no rules with it. The only thing I will say though is if you wear crystal jewelry, again, because crystals, your energy is kind of reacting with one another, you may want to cleanse your crystal jewelry every so often, just so you're not like, if you have negative energy, because sometimes negative energy comes from you, you don't want that to stay on the jewelry. So with crystals that you're using often, it's good to have like selenite, which is a crystal that can actually cleanse other crystals. And I don't think selenite can charge. It might be able to. I'm not sure. You guys might want to look that up. But you can place your crystal jewelry on like a selenite plate. So yeah. Raina says, I feel like religion puts us in boxes. I agree. And also, this is like a whole nother lie now. It's all leading back to the same thing. Like, it really, really is. I feel as a kid, I felt very in tune with the fact that religion felt really political. Like when I was younger, I didn't like it, not necessarily because I love worshiping God. I love feeling the feeling of God, like being connected to God, but just the politics of like a church, like it just felt really weird and also completely hypocritical of what the church was talking about. And I will say that as someone who has been very committed to my spiritual journey, it's a way different experience, a way more in tune experience than when I was in religion, because I feel like when I was like religious, which at some points I was when I was younger, because that's what they teach. They teach like you have to go out and change people and you have to go out and put your religion on other people. It wasn't, I never really, I mean, I felt connected, but not as strongly as now. Like I always knew that God was real because God has revealed himself to me a few times. And I think that I needed that in order for me to really stay the course while I was in a religion until I could understand like how to really communicate with him on my own. So what are your tips on creating the energy? Oh, what does that mean, creating the energy? I feel that I might have a slight bit of skepticism or maybe perfectionism. I can understand that. I completely understand that. I feel like some things, so I had a spiritual coach about a year ago. And so she would tell me how, like, yeah, when you're first starting out, like with manifestation and things, like you really want to believe, you want to believe, but until you truly experience it for yourself and you're like, oh, okay. Then you kind of build up your faith and then you experience something else and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and you get like your own felt experience, and that's why it's important. But can you explain what you mean by creating the energy? Because in my opinion, you're always creating the energy. Literally in this very moment, we're creating energy right now. We're opening up doors for people who've maybe been feeling called to this. We're helping to affirm people who may not have those close in their lives who understand what it is, and you don't feel alone. So we're kind of creating the energy of healing and just learning about things that our ancestors did and being open to new things. I feel like I'm never feeling the energy right for my crystals or not manifesting correctly. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's a good question. I would say let go of the what does that mean? I feel that to me, it sounds like you're looking at what other people do and you're feeling like it should be the same for you, which I understand. I completely understand that. Um, I would say to really like block out, block out isn't the word. I would say to allow yourself to just be present in your own experience. Um, Things work differently for different people. When I first started using crystals, I wanted to believe it because it made sense to me. And again, I felt called to it over and over again. But I think that something that I've had to do within my spiritual journey, because I am a logical person, I am a logical person. I've had to kind of let go of that conditioning, that everything has to have an explanation. Although crystals do have an explanation. Like if you get very scientific about it, there's definitely a scientific explanation for it. But that mindset of like things have to be super logical and things have to be in order, and I have to see it to believe it is not really a mindset that's of us. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna leave that there. And then as far as like you're not feeling the energy right, however you feel it is right. And I think you have to have somebody tell you that when you first start. However you feel around your crystals is exactly how you're supposed to be feeling because you're supposed to work on that. That's your lesson right now. How you're feeling is what you need to overcome to get to the next thing. And that's simply as easy as I can put it. So I will give an example. I actually just had like a meditation, like a guided meditation, where we were doing like subconscious work, and I've never experienced anything like that ever in my life. And they were like guiding me to work through the blockages that I have because of the underlying thing. So yes, you feel fear, but why? Like, what's the root cause of the fear? Like, when was the first time you experienced the fear? And sometimes it's not in this lifetime. Sometimes it's like in a past lifetime, or it can be like an ancestor or in your bloodline, or it can be in the womb. And so this was all super intriguing to me, but I've never done anything like that. And so like they would ask me, okay, what is your subconscious saying? And I'd be like, I mean, I hear something, but is that what you really want me to say? And you just have to feel confident in like you, in your own intuition, in your own journey and where you are. And healing is not like it's literally all around. This whole life experience is just about learning and transmuting, really, especially if you're like a person of color. It's about transmuting any negativity and anything that's holding you back, really, so you can move forward and help other people. And that's that. And a lot of the times we'll experience the same issues over lifetimes because we don't take the time or have the intention to heal what we're feeling. Elizabeth, how do crystals harness the power of the earth? When I upload this video, you'll be able to go back and watch it. This is a really long live. Yeah. Brianna says, I think that's my problem, letting go of the conditioning from all these years and focusing on my instincts. Yeah. And things make a lot more sense. They really make a lot more sense. Like, I cannot tell you all, I'm going through a transition right now. I'm going to be sharing about it a little later. But literally everything is falling into place. And I'm not saying that. I know people say that and it seems like, oh, really? But no, like seriously. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just share with you guys. So we're actually moving. We're moving from Florida. We're moving to a completely different state. And like, we're renting out our house. We're becoming property owners. And literally, like, I felt rushed. Like, oh, I need to, because I'm doing this all while I'm like coming live every day. And I was like, well, I need to do more. I need to do more. And really, I kind of felt like my main lesson within this entire thing was to learn that if you are divinely protected and aligned, everything will happen exactly how it's supposed to be. Like, time is a social construct. We literally just created time by setting our clocks forward. We just created the time that we're all going to live on. Time is not something that's not natural. Time is a created construct. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. And literally, we put our house on the market to rent it out on a Monday. I think somebody actually wanted to rent it out on that Monday. And on Wednesday, we were signing papers for it. So me thinking, oh, I need more time. I need to have it out there. Like, I need to plan it out. Like, no, when you're aligned and when you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, like, God will take care of everything. Our house hunt, literally the first house we went and looked at, boom, that was it, which I wanted to happen because that's kind of what happened with this house. We only searched for like a week and a half until we found this house. And before I even set foot in the house, I knew it was our house. And it's been nothing but a blessing. So like, you really, logical stuff can be helpful to an extent, but like there's only so far you can go with logic. Yeah, intuition is the best. It makes things super simple because my analytical mind will sit here and try to analyze every single variable and factor until I hear like my intuition, like, stop, you got it. We already got the right answer. Leave it alone. And I just have to trust, truly. Elizabeth, it's fine. You can just watch it back when the video's over, which I think, I feel complete. I feel really good about this. So like I said, I'm probably going to break this into smaller videos for people later on to come back and watch. But yeah, Brianna says, wow, I really need to hear this today. Yes. I'm glad that this found you. And that's the whole purpose of sharing. Beth says, seems like we've come full circle. The crystal journey sounds a lot like the natural hair journey. Yes, that's exactly it. That is what my natural hair has taught me. Growing my hair to like achieve, it's not even like growing my hair long, achieving a goal with my hair when I literally thought it was not possible. I never had healthy hair. I never had long hair. Like I always was confused with my hair. So when I achieved that goal, I was like, wow, I can really apply what I did to everything. Being committed, only using what works best for me, trusting myself. I've used those tactics that I used to grow my hair in my business. I'm glad that you see the connection because that's literally how I feel around everything. You're so welcome, Myrna. I'm so happy it was helpful. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions, I guess I'll share really quickly some of my other ones because I brought them to show you all. So I have pyrite here, which is really good. This is like a dominant masculine energy crystal, which is really good for money manifestation. And for me, it just puts me in the energy of abundance. Like I see this and I feel rich. I feel sparkly and radiant. And that's how I feel it attracts money, because you attract things with your energy, with what you feel you deserve and with what you expect. When you expect good things to happen, they happen. So that's what this is for. I have black tourmaline for protection, for transmuting negative energy. This is really good if you're going to go into like a really crowded area, like maybe like the DMV, or like you just know you're going to be around a lot of people and you don't know necessarily like what energy they're going to be on. This can help to dispel any negative energy that comes into your aura so you can stay connected. And then I have one of my favorites. I'm actually wearing them in my earrings, which is quartz. And quartz is really good for amplifying any energy that you want to amplify. So it can be really great at manifestation. And it's also helpful for like, I would say dreams, as far as like receiving downloads through dreams. I can't really explain it, but I'll say the first time I wore this, when I first got this, I wore it to bed about 3 days because I like to help my crystals get kind of adjusted to my energy. So I'll wear them for a while. And I had my very first like dream where like an ancestor came to me in my dream and was teaching me things. And I knew that what I was learning in the dream I would need for later on. And that's funny because I actually forgot that happened until right now. So yeah. Those are my favorite crystals. And I would love if you guys want to share like what you thought about this live on DM at PowerInYourCurl, or maybe even share some of your crystals. But I'm glad that it was helpful, and I'm going to go. So I will see you guys later. And again, if you need to grab one of the masterclasses, you can do so for 20% off for a limited time only. But I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.